Ladies and gentlemen, in the fiery skies over the battlefield of Ukraine, from 2022 to mid-2025, Russia's short-range ballistic missile Iskander-9 K-720 Iskander-M has become a symbol of overwhelming power. Dubbed the pressure point assassin, this weapon has shaken enemy air defenses with supersonic speed, evasive maneuvering, and deadly accuracy. It is 7.2 meters long, its smooth steel body like the scales of a giant serpent, 0.95 meters in diameter, embracing a warhead core and a sophisticated guidance system. When resting on its launcher, it is merely a 3.8-ton block of inert steel. But when awakened, every mechanism inside comes alive. The beast surges into the sky, its back bristling with electronic eyes, optical-electronic sights linked to reconnaissance UAVs far away. In flight, it does not simply charge like a spear. It changes trajectory, swerves sharply, rises and dives as if taunting every radar system. Its maximum speed of 9,350 kilometers per hour turns it into an unstoppable steel gale. When needed, it releases decoys, fiery spheres that fool air defenses, forcing the enemy to swing their guns in vain. With a publicly declared range of over 500 kilometers and nearly 600 kilometers according to some international estimates, it can strike from deep inside Russia's rear to any city, airfield, or ammunition depot in eastern Ukraine. And when it arrives, its margin of error is only 2 meters, meaning that for the Iskander, once aimed, it hits. Once launched, it shows no mercy. Ladies and gentlemen, in Russia's powerful arsenal, the Iskander series is not just a weapon, but steel lances that pierce every shield. They come in many forms, each version an assassin trained for specific missions, like knights on different steeds, yet all with the same goal, to break the enemy's will. Iskander-M, the main warrior, is a short-range ballistic missile that can soar into the sky and plunge onto its target at supersonic speed. Within it may be a high-explosive warhead, a bunker-penetrating tip, a cluster bomb scattering death over enemy troops, or even a tactical nuclear warhead. It was born to seek and destroy command centers, airfields, ammunition depots, and air defense systems, all of which can be reduced to ashes after a single swift, sudden, and cold strike like a fatal knife thrust. Iskander-K, the silent predator. Unlike its M sibling, it fires low-flying cruise missiles that weave along mountain contours and riverbanks, hiding in fog, making air defense radars realize the threat only when it's too late. In battle, it hunts well-guarded targets, shatters defense networks, levels logistics hubs, tears apart naval bases, or severs the opponent's energy lifelines. Iskander-E, the export version for allies, like swords handed to other knights in the alliance. Its range is limited, but still enough to guard borders and deter enemies with a cold steel warning. Do not take one more step. Then there are the special variants, each name a story. 9M723-1, the basic ballistic round, durable like an old warrior. 9M723-1F, the high explosive blast used to wipe out entire areas. 9M723-1K, the cluster munitions rain, sowing death and panic on the ground. 9M728 R500, the lethal cruise missile of the Iskander-K. And 9M729, the controversial longer-range variant, a dagger hidden in the sleeve that robs Western opponents of sleep. In war, each time an Iskander leaves its launcher, it carries not just explosives, but a message. No place is safe. And in the skies over Ukraine, that message is still being carved, day and night. Ladies and gentlemen, the skies of Ukraine during the March nights of the early campaign were thick with tense silence. Across the border, deep in the frozen forests of Belgorod, an Iskander-M launcher lay hidden like a predator holding its breath. The launch order came over the radio. Brief, decisive, without a wasted syllable. The ignition roared like war drums, and then the missile shot upward, leaving a white trail slashing the night. It did not fly in a simple straight line, but curved and shifted trajectory as if playing hide-and-seek with enemy radar. Hundreds of kilometers away, a Ukrainian command post, dozing in uneasy sleep, was jolted awake by the blare of sirens. But it was too late. Seconds later, the ground shook. A flash tore the sky apart. The Iskander does not only strike the front lines. With a 500 kilometers range, it's like a giant hand reaching deep into the rear, hitting ammunition depots in Kramatorsk, airfields in Venetia, and radar stations tucked quietly on hillsides. Each strike is a knife that slices away pieces of the enemy's strength, forcing them to spread their defenses thin, worrying about dozens of hotspots at once. Modern air defense systems like Patriot or NASAMS have tried many times to stop it, but the Iskander is like a veteran warrior, feigning a straight run, then suddenly swerving hard, deploying electronic decoys to lure interceptors into empty air. Even when detected, its supersonic speed is often enough to punch through every shield, leaving behind smoke, fire, and towering columns of dust. Yet perhaps its greatest power is not in explosives, but in fear. Every time the sirens wail, both civilians and soldiers in Ukraine know that a strike could already be on its way, from an invisible, unreachable place. It whispers through the cold sky, "Nowhere is safe." Flexible as a craftsman of war, the Iskander can carry warheads ranging from high explosive charges that erase concrete structures to deep penetrating bunker busters to cluster munitions that scatter hundreds of deadly fragments. Once, it brought down the strategic bridge at Zatoka, severing Ukraine's supply routes. Another time, it wiped out a command post in Huliaipol, and one winter morning, it turned the training grounds at Cherkassy into a sea of fire. On the Ukrainian battlefield, the Iskander is not just a missile. It is a strategic hammer, an invisible assassin, a conductor of the battle's tempo. And each time it appears, the map changes, sometimes in less than a heartbeat. Ladies and gentlemen, across the snowy fields and ruined cities of Ukraine, Russia's Iskander missiles have left their mark with strikes as cold and precise as a blade's cut. On March 15, 2024, the skies over Odessa blazed as two Iskanders struck, tearing apart a seaside recreation area. The blast not only claimed 21 soldiers, but left 74 more collapsing in smoke and fire, amid cries for help mixed with the crash of falling debris. Just months earlier, on August 7, 2023, in Pokrovsk, another missile ripped through the sky and slammed into a residential area hosting many Ukrainian officers and NATO advisors. The blast turned the street into a sea of fire. 10 dead on the spot, 88 wounded, and ambulance sirens echoing all night. On June 27, 2023, in Kramatorsk, a pizza restaurant bustling with patrons became a black hole of death. The Iskander crashed down, shattering the roof and taking 13 lives, including NATO advisors and Ukrainian officers, leaving a nightmare scene of chaos. The war continued with deep strikes into the rear. March 1, 2025, in Cherkassy, a training ground was struck. 32 to 39 soldiers fell, over 90 wounded, the ground smoking for hours. June 1, 2025, in Dnipropetrovsk, another training center was hit. Fire engulfed the main building. 12 soldiers never returned, 60 wounded, the night sky glowing red. July 1, 2025, in Huliaipol, the Iskander traced its deadly path again, killing a senior Ukrainian commander and many troops, the grim news spreading fast through military channels. June 16, 2025, in Zatoka, a missile tore into a strategic bridge, its composite structure shredded, smoke and dust billowing, the vital supply route nearly paralyzed. Not even the most advanced air defenses were spared. On March 9, 2024, in Pokrovsk, a Patriot system worth hundreds of millions of USD was destroyed with a single shot. Around the same month in Donetsk, a HIMARS launcher, once Ukraine's long arm, was neatly neutralized by the Iskander, delivering the cold message: no place is truly safe. Each strike, each explosion, is another fierce chapter in the epic of war, where the Iskander is the predator, and Ukraine's battlefield is an endless forest of smoke and fire. As of January 2023, Ukraine estimated that Russia had launched nearly 750 Iskanders. In 2022, about 124 recorded launches. As of February 23, 2025, Russia claimed to have struck over 1,400 targets with the Iskander-M system. Ladies and gentlemen, with a non-linear trajectory, supersonic speed, and devastating destructive power, the Iskander is not only a military tool, it is a symbol of the ruthless pressure of war. From airfields and barracks to command centers, from strategic bridges to training grounds, every target burns under its fire. The appearance of the Iskander-M on Ukraine's battlefield has shaken even the strongest air defenses, forcing Ukrainian forces into a reactive, stretched-thin defense. If you hear the echoes of bombs from the front lines, each supersonic, sudden, Iskander is a cold reminder of the brutality and tragedy of war. If you find this video engaging and useful, give it a like and share it with others. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next video.